Hello everybody, and welcome to our tutorial here. What I'm going to do is add a nice garage workbench here to this area. I got my cabinets all laid out, got the music playing, that's much fun. What I'm going to do is just start assembling some of these base cabinets. Got my hardware sitting over here, got my base cabinets here, and I got my wall cabinets, so it's going to go up on top of the base cabinets. You'll see what this looks like when we get done with the video. Everything, this is how it's going to come to you attached or grouped together via cabinet number. I sorted out the backs and whatnot over here on the end. So we got backs, and I got a new countertop product that may or may not work. Got my heavy bag, it's always important. And then I got some of the doors and stuff like that. Those are all sitting right there, unwrapped from the cardboard. Drawer fronts are right there. These are all backs and whatnot. These are backs for the other parts, and then these are other insertable backs into the exposed cabinets. So, pretty cool. I got my air compressor set up in case I need it. And then I got a new ledger board system. So basically, if you imagine here, I got conduit running along the base here. Now, that's fine. Where that blue tape is roughly where the new garage workbench is going to be. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to use, instead of using a ledger board is just a fancy word for a piece of plywood that you stack your cabinets on. That makes it level, so level this way. And then plumb is going to be your cabinets as they tilt in and out. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use this ledger board piece right here. I got this from Home Depot this morning. I thought I'd try this out. Let's see if it works. Basically what I'm doing is I'm going to attach it like this to the wall, and then we're going to, that way I can get around that conduit, and then we're going to stack the base cabinets and then just attach them to the wall studs when we do that. So let's get started. Make a really cool project here. Okay, so first step's done. I got all my base cabinets assembled. That's what I'm going to recommend doing first. So base cabinets are right there. Remember, exposed cabinets do not have a back on them. There's all the extra straps sitting over there. That's garbage for me to clean up. Okay, so basically what I did was I decided not to use those angled iron pieces because they were really hard to install. I went ahead and did a lot simpler thing, which I'm going to recommend to you guys, which is just a piece of in-square trim. Okay. What I did was I found the center line of my cabinets when they're all going to be assembled and put into place. I then used a stud finder. You can see the little lines I marked on the wall, just a real quick thing. And what I did was I then found the center line and I matched up the center line there with the center of the M-square trim. Now this M-square trim does not need to be the same width overall as your entire cabinet run. Your cabinets can hang over the end a little bit because if you want, you can actually remove that M-square trim when you're all done. But this is going to keep it all nice and level. If you're using a nice level there, notice we are nice and level. If you're using one of these magnetic level pieces, just be careful because sometimes on the ends here they can pick up screws and whatnot, and that can mess up your level. So if you're doing it, just be careful with that. So that's pretty much it. So I'm going to use the M-square trim. Now I'm going to start stacking the bases on top of that. So we know it's perfectly level this way. Now the only thing we need to worry about is the base cabinets going in and out like this. All right, so before I get into installing the final bar back panel, what I'm doing is I'm just attaching these guys up here at the top. The idea originally was to make it so I'm not trying to attach through the middle of the panel, you know. You're gonna be sitting here, so this is gonna be your workbench, right? So you can have this all as your open display, plus uppers above. I can't zoom out anymore, sorry. The idea here is to make it so that I have some floating monitor supports that kind of pulls out like this, and then we have lighting behind it. Now I'm gonna run a piece of trim up on the top for reflective purposes. But the idea here is I also had an outlet that I had to move. Now originally this was down here, but I wanted to get it behind the monitor support, so there's gonna be a back wall. It's kind of pulled out forward. What I did is I just basically used this drywall saw and then just made a small channel. And then I went up through here and then I marked this piece right here. It's 2 inches by 3 inches, if you're curious. And I'm gonna turn it sideways, that way I can try to make it so you can't see it. So the idea is to come in and see this entire thing without any screw holes or fasteners showing. Cool. Okay, all done setting the uppers on top of the countertops. Now notice here, everything's still removable, so we're able to move those out of there. The idea is to make each level support its own weight, so we don't break anything. All right, so looking good there. The only things I wanted to talk about a little bit on this guy right here is sometimes you're not gonna have a stud. For example, this one did not have a stud. In fact, the stud was right there, right in the middle. In fact, that screw right there didn't even hit the stud. So basically what I had to do was get a little creative. First of all, we always want to make sure we have something attached to it. We can't just let it float. Can't attach it to the countertop, obviously, because we got that countertop that's got to be able to pull out of there. And obviously you can see that I use some shims right here. That's to keep it up. off the countertop. I just pulled those shims out, and then things floating. So what I did was I went through at an angle, 45-degree angle, boom, right there, and I was able to just grab the stud. Now, we have two really big, wide upper cabinets on top. Those are gonna be glass door cabinets. So what we're gonna have to do there is, this whole thing acts as a sort of ledger board again, kind of like we did down below. We have this whole thing is acting as a ledger board. So what I'm gonna do now is assemble those cabinets and just basically start plugging and playing. It's kind of like Legos going up. And once those things are attached to the wall, we can then screw up, or if you want, if you're worried of looking up at the screw heads there and want to minimize your fasteners, you can screw down into the top of that cabinet, and that'll stiffen that cabinet up right now. If I pulled that cabinet, I could actually probably pull it off the wall a little bit right there. We don't want that after a while. So anyway, just get creative. Remember, it's construction. Plywood is strong, so you're going to be just fine doing a little bit of creative installation tasks. All right, so just finishing up the top row here. Went through, added them all up. So as you see there, we had this row right here anchored, and then we went up and we did the other row on the top. I got as many studs as I could, so I drilled right through the nailer. You can see the black nail heads. With the black interior and using the black drywall screw, you can kind of like not see the head, maybe. So a couple of things I wanted to show everybody. If I can find them. I'm gonna grab these screws. There's been I tried a few different screws out. All of these screws you can buy at Home Depot. These are the ones I ended up using, the drywall screws. I tried these cabinet screws out from GRK, and they're available at Home Depot. I honestly do not see the reason to pay extra money for them. I'm not trying to talk bad about them. Anyway, so what's been used for like the last 20, 30 years in the cabinet industry, which is what I've always been taught to use, is black drywall screws. They're really good. They last forever. They have a really good, thick, aggressive tread pattern on them. The thing I didn't like about these other screws that we tried is that the tread on them is minimal. So you might be able to get away with not pre-drilling your holes, but it's one of those things where it doesn't really grab a lot, and I don't really feel safe with it. So I use the installation screws. I use the drywall screws like we have in the past. Now you can also use a decking screw. Decking screws are fine. Same idea, pretty much. They just have a coating over the top of them. So long as you're not getting these things wet, then you should be okay. So I'm gonna do it through, and I'm gonna clean out, and then I'm gonna put the end panels on. So this is everything without all the facing on it. This is pretty much the raw skeleton of the cabinet, and yeah, looking good. Okay, so end panels are going in right now. Testing out some new things that we're doing here as far as end panels are concerned. Sorry, it's a little dirty. So basically what we have here is a really tall end panel. Now to get a tall end panel horizontal, as you see right there, it's not possible to do it above 80 inches, and that's more than 80 inches. So what do you do? Don't be asking me that. So what we do here is we're gonna split it up into two, and this is what's called that two-piece tall finished end panel. Now there's actually a seam right there, as you can easily see in the photo right there. In real life, actually, it's not that prevalent, but it seems pretty good right there. So what we're doing here is we are using pre-glued dowels. Okay? Pre-glued dowels, what they're gonna do is we're going to go over here to this side where I have not installed the second piece. Pre-glued dowels, what you're gonna do is you have two-piece finish end panel, and in one side of it, you're gonna have some holes right there. So get your dowels wet, insert them into the hole, and then the other end panel slides down onto the dowels that are already inserted in the hole. All right, so I just inserted the dowels right there. So you see them right there? A little bit of glue left on. So nice and wet, good to go. And we'll just insert the other end panel up to the top. Okay, so I went through, blew everything out. It's all cleaned up now. Looking pretty good. A note, if you're gonna blow stuff out, just be careful around your drawer slides. If you blow the wood chips and sawdust into the blow slides, or into the drawer slides, it's not a good deal. Now, especially if you guys are doing a sink cabinet, if you guys are gonna have like a, like a kitchen sink or whatnot, be careful because the guys doing the granite could come over and they could do the cutout. Say like this is the countertop, they do like a cutout in the granite, and you have a rollout in that sink down below typically. Those slides can get inundated with granite dust, and then it can make them go, really bad. Not a good deal. So anyway, Just cover them up. They should be okay. All right, yeah, I just don't have the bottom set of slides because I forgot to get the right depth. I had to minimize the depth because I had to miss that conduit, so that drawer box is actually a little different if you're asking. Cool. Okay, so I've got the backs in. Now, as you've probably seen in all of our disclaimers and whatnot, those backs are loose. So that means that you can install the cabinets like you saw me do earlier. And then you can put the back in so you have that clean look. Notice how, now all that's gonna be covered, these screw holes right here are gonna be covered by trim, so let's forget about that. But now look at the backs of those glass door cabinets. No fasteners, yet that cabinet's secure to the wall. Now you might be asking, how do you get it to, to install? How do you install the back? So what I recommend is, number one, either Velcro on the back side of that, or pin nailer. It's 1.5 inch pin nailer. It's more than adequate. I just put one pin nail in at the top and one down at the bottom. On this one up here, I put one right there, and then I put another one over here on this side. The nailer was running across the top. So that's probably the best place to do it. Now, worst case scenario, if you need to get it out of there, you can always insert a screw and then use your hammer to basically yank that back out. But once you pin nail it, one of the least things I like about the pin nailing is the fact that it's kind of permanent without severely damaging the back, with just a little screw hole. Other than that, it's not bad. You can get away with pretty much anything. So anyway, looks pretty good. Nice and clean. I'll pull the stickers off now. I'll put the doors on. Okay, so here we are. Got all the doors on. Obviously, those doors will be repainted. They're going to be painted like a dark gray or something like that. All right, so still have a little bit of tools out. I just got the doors on and adjusted, and right now I'm on to the trim. So I got putting trim underneath just because I think it's going to look nicer.
Always.
Everything else, all the handles are already installed before I put the doors on. And as you can see here, we're looking pretty good. I got that door off because I'm doing molding up on top.
Kiss me.
Okay, so pretty much all done with the millwork, crown, and then I'm on to the back part. Or I'm sorry, what do we call that? Backsplash pull out. So ideally what's gonna happen is I'm gonna put a couple of panels up here all the way across. I'm gonna hide some outlets so that it's backlit so you can see the nice horizontal grain on the top and bottom. So basically what I wanted to do is go over what we have here. And what I've done is I've taken a few blocks and kind of made like a checkerboard pattern so I can get the wires in and out of it. It's kind of a last minute deal. I just went to Home Depot, picked up the 2x4s. And this is not obviously a product we would sell, but at the moment, pretty much done with the cabinet products, so you guys are free to go if you are done there. But I'm gonna go through and kind of do some aftermarket stuff. I'm gonna put some like a monitor mount on there. Kind of make this into a real organized workbench. Okay, pretty much all done now. I got so I put the, Philips Hue strip lights. That's the red, green, and blue. I can change those to purple or any color you want. I have the piece put up here. So behind this is the 2x4 honeycomb, I guess, sort of thing. I got a little goo there. And then what I did was I just attached these pieces right here to the 2x4. And then I put these OmniTrack systems on the top and bottom. And if you actually look up above here, you can see all I did was I just put it right there on the top. I'm gonna adhere it down a little bit better. So it's basically on top of this panel, right here. Also back in there, I have an outlet. So I got my outlets back there. So this is right on the top, and then I have this OmniTrack overlapping up here to cover, to kind of act like a sort of a light balance. Same exact thing down below. If I cover those up, seems like they heated up and they expanded a little bit. So that's pretty much it. So what I'm gonna do there is I'm gonna then add some monitors in, and maybe a computer hidden in the back. The idea is that if I do the Bluetooth keyboard and mouse right there, we shouldn't have any wires exposed. So that's key. I think that's the goal here. Okay, so onto the countertop. Countertop, I just kind of put it together last minute. It is Sunday night, and I'm done. I'm tired. So, yeah. Anyway, still sunny, but anyway, so I started yesterday at noon. Got done. The countertop here, what I did was I went through and I just sanded it. Little vibration palm sander. pretty easy. What I went through and decided to go with is the fact that you can see here I overlapped these. Originally these were a butt joint, just 2 pieces, so 4 pieces coming together, and I thought that was not good. The reason for that is, yeah, I had the joint was coming in right here, and there was a void in the top of the cabinet. I'll show you what I was doing there. So the idea here is I basically just took these pieces of plywood and then I just used some screws. I put some glue in between the 2 pieces and I laminated them together, screwed them together right there, and then, I'm sorry, right here. And then when I can basically lock these 2 together, these 2 pieces together, and then I use 1 screw to hold it. So technically I could remove this screw and then this screw right there, and these 2 pieces will pull apart. That seam is terrible, sorry. I was getting a little in a hurry. A better seam here. Same thing here, I can remove the screw that's right there, and this screw, and then I could take this panel, I could take this countertop completely apart and transport it. This is obviously too long to really put in your truck or your car or whatever you're doing there. So more DIY is to use smaller pieces, so it's technically 6 pieces of bolting. It's pretty good. All right, so, oh, sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what I did over here, and this is something I might get into. I'm not sure if I'm gonna offer this or not. Regular drawer box, right? Yeah, pretty easy. What I was looking at doing here was putting a magnet on this. So I actually took some KV slides. I knocked the soft closing piece out, so they're not soft closing anymore. The original idea was to make it so that this would hold, so it would come out, and then I'd be able to use it as another piece of, office space. So if you want to write or something like that, it'd be pretty good. That's pretty much it. I think it looks pretty good overall. Kids playing. Got the crown up there. I left it about 1 inch off the ceiling on purpose. I just didn't want to touch the ceiling because that would have added a lot more time to the project. Got the hue lights in there. It'd be cool. I'm turning it to purple. I'm gonna probably put some more lights underneath there. I think that'll make it look really nice, but I don't have time today. I got my legs on there. Got the trim, the M square trim I used on the bottom, and then I got the other valance. I don't know if I showed you guys this. I can't remember. So anyway, I put that piece up there after it was all said and done. It's important to put that piece on last because to find the studs, those were attached to the studs. Once you get these panels on here, it's almost gonna be impossible to use a stud finder. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Other than that, I put this piece up here on the front too. I just tacked it on with a pin nailer. Okay, so you have this piece right here. If I want to, I might even add some more lighting in here. I don't think I need to though. It's just pretty good. Okay, well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just gotta paint those doors and then I'm done. I might even just leave this top raw because it's really nice. I was actually using it as a bench worktop to do all the knobs and pulls and I really enjoyed it. So I'm maybe leave it raw, it's more durable. And then you can drill into it and stuff like that. In worst case scenario, flip it over.
Are you making a video?
Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much it. All right, thanks.
High five video! Bye.
We did it.
You already made what, 2 videos?
Yeah, I'm done. Say bye.
Bye.